In the year 2492, the stars held no mystery for Earth anymore. Only politics, betrayal, and broken promises. Humanity had joined the Galactic Concord nearly a century ago, believing in unity, progress, and peace among the stars. They had worked hard, offering inventions, labor, and ideas that lifted many struggling worlds. Their efforts had helped the mighty Zelthari Empire grow stronger, faster, and richer than ever. Earth's scientists developed shield harmonics that made faster-than-light travel safer. Their soldiers fought in empire wars, and their engineers repaired alien ships in the worst battle zones. But despite all this, they were never treated as equals. Whispers of disrespect had echoed through private channels for years, but most humans kept believing that things would get better. Then everything changed with one transmission. A young data analyst on Titan Station intercepted a private message between two high-ranking Zelthari counselors. The message was not meant to be seen by human eyes. It called Earth's people useful, beasts, obedient but forgettable, disposable. The analyst reported it. Within an hour, the recording had reached EarthNet's highest security level. President Aiko Tanaka listened to it in silence, her hands shaking slightly as the words repeated in her mind. She didn't call a meeting. She didn't wait for advisors. She went live. Her face appeared across every screen on Earth, every colony, every station in orbit. Her voice was calm but hard. "To the Zelthari Empire," she said, "Earth is not your servant. We are not your beasts of burden. You have forgotten who we are. As of now, Earth declares the Zelthari Empire persona non grata. Your ships are no longer welcome. Your envoys will not be heard. Our borders are closed." Her words struck like lightning. Shock spread through the Galactic Concord. Earth had never made such a move before. Zelthari diplomats tried to contact EarthNet, but their messages bounced back. Gateways connecting to Earth's system closed one by one, blinking red in warning. Border stations went silent. Trade ships waiting for docking instructions were told to leave or be disabled. Some tried to stay, thinking it was a mistake. They were gently but firmly pushed back by unmanned drone fleets. New ships, sleek and unmarked, moving in perfect silence. Then came the ripple effects. Other species in the Concord started whispering. Was Earth serious? What was happening inside their closed system? For the first time in decades, humans stopped answering questions. They stopped explaining, and that silence was louder than any threat. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, the Aegis fleet began forming. Admiral Zara Mbeki took command without ceremony. She had served the Empire once, fought side by side with Zelthari admirals in campaigns that burned whole moons. Now she stood on the bridge of the TSS horizon, watching Earth grow smaller beneath her through the viewport. Around her, ships of every shape and size took formation. Some were new, just built. Others were old cargo haulers, retrofitted with strange weapons and human-designed shields. All of them had the same goal: defend Earth. The President's order was clear: no Empire vessel crosses into Sol space, and if one does, it doesn't leave. The tension built like a pressure cooker. The Zelthari were furious, confused, and scared. They had grown used to Earth's help. They had relied on it. Now that help was gone, and no one knew what humanity was doing behind closed gates. Rumors began spreading. Earth was building something. Others claimed that Earth had new technologies it hadn't shared. Some believed that humans had allied with the mysterious synthetic beings of the void. The truth was that Earth had spent the last 20 years preparing for this very moment. Quietly, slowly, and with painful patience, humanity had planned for the day it would no longer serve. In the deserts of Mars, massive construction sites had gone unnoticed by foreign eyes. On Europa, strange machines powered by geothermal vents drilled deeper than regulations allowed. On Earth's moon, entire cities went dark and silent, their lights extinguished as if swallowed by shadows. And everywhere across the system, people changed, not in their hearts, but in their minds. They stopped dreaming of being accepted. They started building something of their own. The final straw had broken, and Earth was done being underestimated. Yet, The galaxy did not yet understand the weight of what had happened. They still thought it was a tantrum, a temporary shutdown. They didn't know that the human race had just chosen a new path, and once chosen, humans never turned back. As the days passed, a single message echoed out from the depths of the solar system. It was short, cold, final. Earth is not part of your empire. We are not your pawns. We are not your tools. We are not yours at all. And with that, the stars around Earth went dark. No ships entered. No signals escaped. Only silence. But in that silence, something powerful was growing, something ancient, something human. Beyond the sealed borders of Earth, confusion and fear began to spread through the stars like a slow, creeping fog. The Zelthari Empire, for all its power and pride, had never seen such defiance. Other worlds had rebelled before, but those rebellions were weak, noisy, and easily crushed. This was different. Earth had not shouted. It had simply gone silent, and silence was far more dangerous. The Empire sent envoys, dressed in gold and lined with smiles, hoping to open a door with sweet words. None returned. Then came the merchants, claiming friendship and trade. They too were turned away, their ships escorted by strange drones that spoke in flat, final tones. Access denied, return to safe space. Soon even the most stubborn traders stopped trying. Still, the Empire was not ready to give up. They believed Earth was bluffing, that humans were just angry, and with time, they would come crawling back. So the Empire sent something smaller, something quiet. A stealth recon ship, black and silent, slipped past the edge of Sol's gravity field. Invisible to most sensors, it crept toward Earth like a shadow. Inside, its crew of 3 Zelthari. Officers watched their screens closely, expecting to find chaos or disrepair. What they found instead made their blood run cold. Earth's orbit was alive with activity, orderly, powerful, and frighteningly efficient. Giant stations moved in perfect harmony. New ships, sleek and sharp, drifted like sharks circling an unseen prey. Satellites blinked with coded light, impossible to read, and yet clearly working in concert. The humans had not closed themselves off to fall behind. They had closed themselves off to leap forward. The recon ship tried to send a report, but their signal vanished into static. A moment later, every screen in their cockpit went dark, then flickered to life with a single symbol, an open eye surrounded by a circle of stars. A voice followed, not angry, but calm and absolute. You were warned. This was your only chance. Then came a sudden jolt. Their engines shut down. Their controls froze. A human vessel, shaped like a blade and coated in light-absorbing armor, appeared beside them, silent and still. No shots were fired. No threats were made. But the message was clear. They were caught. The recon crew was returned to the edge of their space, their ship powerless and drifting. A small pod ejected from the human vessel containing a simple device, a memory crystal. It held one message. It was broadcast to every major channel across the galaxy. No Empire vessel is welcome in Sol. Cross our line, and you will not return. This is your warning. There will not be another. The galaxy stirred. Some species watched in awe, others in fear. The Empire, wounded in pride, began to grumble and threaten. But threats meant nothing now. The humans had changed, and no one could deny it. Back on Earth, Admiral Zara Mbeki stood on the command deck of the Horizon, her hands behind her back, eyes fixed on the stars. Her crew worked in silence, watching monitors, reviewing ship movements, tracking distant signals. Zara had once served with Zelthari generals. She had led fleets under their flag, but she remembered the way they looked at humans, useful, but never equal. Her jaw tightened. That would never happen again. The Aegis fleet was growing daily, absorbing new vessels from every colony, every station. Each ship was upgraded with new designs, faster drives, smarter AIs, and shields no one outside Earth had ever seen. The Sol system had become a fortress, and Zara was its gatekeeper. The President's voice echoed in her mind. Hold the line, Admiral. No one enters. No one manipulates us again. Outside the system, the Zelthari gathered a blockade, a circle of warships and sensor drones meant to pressure Earth into bending. They sent messages claiming it was for security and open dialogue. Earth did not answer, but it did act. Instead of attacking the blockade, Earth released a data burst into the open net, a gift, or perhaps a weapon. It was a library of advanced technology, theories and designs far beyond what the Empire had allowed others to see. Ships on distant worlds suddenly had blueprints for better engines, for gravity anchors, for medical nanites that could cure diseases in hours. The Empire's control over knowledge broke in a single night, and with that gift came a whisper: build, grow, and stand free. Worlds under the Empire's rule began to stir. Minor races that had lived in fear now had tools to fight back. Rebellions sparked in quiet corners. Old alliances cracked, and through it all, Earth said nothing. It remained silent behind its sealed gates, watching, waiting. The Zelthari, desperate, sent another fleet, larger this time, with fighters and bombers and capital ships. But they stopped at the line. No one dared cross it. Everyone remembered what happened to the recon team. Everyone remembered the Eye. Behind Earth's shielded space, something was being built. The shape of it could just barely be seen from deep-scan satellites. A massive ring around the planet. No one knew its purpose. Theories spread like wildfire. A weapon, a gate, a throne. The Empire's leaders argued in secret halls, their voices tense. They could not strike first. That would turn the rest of the galaxy against them. But they could not ignore Earth either. Not now. Not when Earth's silence was becoming a symbol for rebellion, for freedom. And Earth still did not speak. It didn't need to. Every day its silence echoed louder. Every day the stars listened. On the outer rim of the system, at the edge of the dark, human listening posts picked up strange signals. Whispers from deeper space. Faint, old, and not quite natural. Zara reviewed the data, brow furrowed. Something was coming. Something not. Zelthari, something unknown. She sent the data to EarthNet, encrypted and flagged urgent. She received one word in reply: prepare. In that moment, she understood. Earth hadn't sealed its borders in fear. It hadn't turned away to hide. It had seen what the Empire could not. It had seen the real threat in the void beyond the stars. And while the rest of the galaxy squabbled over control, Earth had built a wall, not just to keep others out, but to keep something far worse from getting in. The echoes in the void were growing louder. And Earth was listening. The Zelthari Empire could not afford to lose face. Not now. Not when so many eyes across the galaxy were watching its every move, waiting to see what it would do about Earth's defiance. But for all their size and might, they hesitated. That hesitation was something new. The Empire had crushed rebellions before with swift violence, sent fleets to burn cities on desert moons, and ended uprisings before they ever had the chance to speak. But Earth's silence was different. It was not weakness, it was control. While the Zelthari gathered their warships and broadcast their threats, Earth didn't reply, didn't react, didn't even acknowledge them. Their refusal to play the Empire's game made them unpredictable and dangerous. The blockade around Sol grew heavier with each passing day, with more ships sent to tighten the circle. Zelthari admirals stood ready, their weapons powered, but they dared not cross the invisible line Earth had drawn. The memory of the disabled stealth ship, returned broken and silent, haunted every commander. Then Earth made its next move, not with force, but with knowledge. Across the galactic net, a new data burst spread, released from nowhere, yet appearing everywhere. It contained schematics, pure and clear, technologies never seen before, systems far beyond what the Empire allowed its allies to develop. It was a weapon without bullets, a war of information. Small planets that once begged for scraps now had the power to build ships equal to the Empire's cruisers. Colonies that had struggled to purify water now had atmospheric converters that turned toxic skies into breathable air. The Empire had always held back technology, claiming it was for safety, but Earth had shared it all freely. And in doing so, they lit the fire. Protests began on distant worlds. Citizens marched not with weapons, but with data pads showing Earth's blueprints. They demanded independence, They demanded access. In the Empire's outer regions, old grudges reignited. Minor races once too weak to fight now had the tools and the belief to rise. All of it sparked by Earth's silent message. You don't need them anymore. In the halls of the Imperial Citadel, panic grew. The Emperor's advisors shouted at each other in secret chambers, their usual calm replaced with fear. They're tearing us apart, one hissed. Not with guns, but with ideas. But ideas were harder to fight than fleets. The Empire's spies tried to trace the source of the tech leak, but Earth's encryption was impossible to crack. Their data was alive, moving, adapting, hiding behind layers of artificial minds far beyond what anyone else could build. Still, the Empire believed power would win in the end, so they made their final threat. From the edge of Sol, they launched a warning strike, not on Earth, but on its colony on Mars, a farming settlement with no weapons, no shields, and no soldiers. They thought it would send a message. They were right, just not the message they wanted. Within hours of the attack, the Aegis fleet activated something called the Helios Protocol. The name meant nothing to the galaxy at first, but its meaning became clear soon enough. A fleet of new ships, never seen before and not even listed on Earth's known registry, launched from hidden bays on Titan and Luna. These ships moved faster than expected, their engines whisper silent in the void, their shapes strange and sharp, like blades cut from shadow. No declaration was given, no formal war announced. The ships jumped past the blockade, not toward it, but past it, into Imperial space. They didn't target military outposts. They struck deep, hitting the heart of the Empire. Supply stations vanished in flashes of white light. Communications hubs went offline in seconds. Satellites were destroyed before they could send distress calls. But no civilians were harmed. Earth's fleet disabled, never destroyed. They moved with surgical precision, cutting away the Empire's strength without ever showing their full hand. The attack lasted only 6 hours. Then Earth's ships vanished, leaving behind silence and a single transmission broadcast to every Imperial frequency. We learned war from you. Now we use it better. Fear spread faster than the fleet had. Imperial worlds that once laughed at Earth now locked their skies and braced for more. But Earth didn't attack again. It had made its point. The Empire had blinked, and the galaxy had seen it. Across hundreds of systems, people started taking down Imperial banners. On trade stations, human-made tech became black, market gold. Young pilots dreamed of joining the Terran cause. Minor governments formed secret councils, trying to decide if they should wait or reach out to Earth themselves. The idea of a Terran coalition, once whispered, now became real. Earth, once seen as a junior race, now stood as a symbol of rebellion, of self-control, of power without tyranny. Yet, still, they said nothing. The Bastion Ring, Earth's massive orbital project, continued construction, its full purpose still unknown. From the outside, it looked like a defense grid, but its strange energy pattern suggested something more, something even the Empire's top scientists couldn't explain. Some said it was a planetary shield. Others claimed it was a new kind of gate, one that bent the laws of space itself. Inside Sul, humanity pushed forward, not distracted by the chaos outside. The silence was intentional. Every decision Earth made was quiet, focused, and exact. They were not looking for war. They were building something greater. Back on the TSS horizon, Admiral Zara Mbeki stood once more on the bridge, watching. Her crew moved with smooth efficiency. Reports flowed in. Mars was healing. The fleet had returned, and the Empire had retreated. Her eyes narrowed at the latest intel. The Othari signals had returned, stronger now. Faint, layered, coming from far beyond known space. She didn't need to guess. She already knew. Earth had sealed its borders not to fight the Empire, but to prepare for what lay beyond them all. And now that the Empire had blinked, Earth had time. Not much, but enough. The galaxy, still divided, had no idea what was coming. But Earth did. And when the stars darkened again, Earth would not face them as a servant or a shadow. It would face them as a storm. The calm before the storm was breaking at the edge of the Sol system, where the bastion ring hovered like a silent sentinel, its massive segments glinting faintly under the distant sun. Earth had fortified its borders not just against the Zelthari Empire, but for a threat no one else had seen coming. Something ancient, vast, and dangerous lurking beyond the familiar. Stars. Admiral Zara Mbeki stood on the bridge of the TSS Horizon, her gaze locked on the monitors that showed a growing blip just outside the farthest sensor range. For weeks, strange signals, impossible to trace, had been detected, a pattern of energy pulses that felt alive, almost like a heartbeat in the dark void. Scientists aboard EarthNet stations had warned that what was approaching could not be explained by any known physics or technology. The Zelthari blockade, once a symbol of imperial pride, now looked feeble beside this looming unknown. Suddenly, alarms blared across the command deck. The blip expanded, breaking through long-range sensors and revealing shapes that defied all standard design, ships that twisted space around them, vessels that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. They moved with unnatural speed and silence, slipping past the outer defenses like shadows creeping through an open door. The Empire's warships, caught in their usual formations, scrambled to react, but their weapons flickered and failed to lock on the intruders. On Earth, in the vast underground control rooms, the mood shifted from tense readiness to outright panic as the first wave of alien vessels breached the Bastion Ring's outer perimeter. The massive orbital defense platform, designed to repel anything known, faced something new, something that turned its own energy weapons back against it. Stations exploded in silent fireballs, shattering into debris fields that drifted like ghosts around the planet. Earth's fleet scrambled to intercept, deploying fast attack craft and drone swarms. But the enemy's technology adapted instantly, absorbing and rerouting attacks with terrifying efficiency. Communications broke down in waves. EarthNet's leaders, including President Aiko Tanaka, convened in an emergency council, their faces drawn and pale. There was no question, this was the threat they had prepared for. The Othari, as they called themselves based on intercepted signals, had arrived. Across the solar system, people watched in fear and awe as the skies filled with streaks of fire and flashes of explosions. Yet even amid the chaos, Earth's response was measured and precise. It didn't launch blind attacks or panic maneuvers. Instead, its ships fell back into tight formations, drawing the Othari into the carefully planned kill zones hidden within the Bastion Ring. The fighting was brutal, and unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, ships that folded space to strike from behind, weapons that hacked into systems before destroying them physically, and energy shields that could shift shape and strength in moments. Admiral Zara coordinated with commanders across the fleet, issuing orders with calm urgency. "Hold the gate," she said simply. "We don't get a second chance." As the battle raged, the Zelthari Empire sent pleas for alliance, proposing a fragile ceasefire to face the common enemy. Earth's answer was clear. Trust must be earned, and for now, the Bastion Ring was humanity's first and last line of defense. In the midst of the battle, a breakthrough came. A young EarthNet scientist, Jalen Armitage, discovered a pattern in the Othari attack waves, a rhythm to their assaults that suggested intelligence, not just instinct. He theorized that the Othari were probing, testing weaknesses, learning from every encounter. Sharing his findings, the fleet adjusted tactics, using feints and traps to confuse the enemy. Slowly, the tide turned. The Bastion Ring's hidden weapons, a network of powerful gravitic projectors and focused particle beams, began to tear through the Othari fleet. Ships blinked out of existence, swallowed by artificial black holes or shredded by beams of pure energy. But the victory was costly. Entire sections of the Bastion Ring were damaged or destroyed. Human lives were lost, heroes made in the fiery crucible of war. Yet, through it all, Earth remained unbroken. The President addressed the people, her voice steady despite the weight of loss. "We face a darkness older than any of us. But together, we will hold the gate. We will survive. We will endure." In the shadow of the battle, secrets emerged. The Bastion Ring was more than a defense, it was a key. Jalen's team uncovered that it was tuning itself to the strange signals from deep space, preparing not just to fight, but to open a path beyond. The stars. The Othari's arrival had forced Earth's hand. As the last embers of the day faded, Admiral Zara stood once again on the horizon's bridge, looking toward the quiet stars beyond the war zone. The fight was far from over. The Empire's forces, weakened but watchful, awaited their moment. The Othari were relentless, their numbers growing with each encounter. And somewhere, in the endless dark, other watchers stirred, ancient eyes, observing the unfolding battle. Fire had broken at the gate, and the galaxy held its breath. Earth had drawn its line in the stars, but the true test of survival was just beginning. The war at the edge of the Sol system had pushed Earth and its allies to their limits, but the Bastion Ring, battered yet standing, pulsed with an energy that promised more than mere defense. It was a beacon, a shield, and a key to survival in a darkening galaxy. Admiral Zara Mbeki, now weathered from battle and loss, watched the stars through the viewport of the TSS horizon, her mind racing with new intelligence reports and strategies. The Othari had been pushed back, but their attacks grew fiercer, their ships evolving in form and function, as if the void itself was teaching them to fight smarter. Meanwhile, the Zelthari Empire, shaken by Earth's unexpected strength, teetered on the edge of internal collapse, with factions arguing whether to sue for peace or launch a final desperate strike. Amid this chaos, a new threat emerged from beyond the known borders, a shimmering wall of light and energy stretching across space, visible on every sensor, unlike anything before. Scientists aboard EarthNet called it the Wall of Stars, an immense phenomenon appearing between Sul and the outer void, its origin and purpose a mystery. It blocked travel, communication, and even the probing signals sent to explore deeper space. Some believed it was a natural cosmic event, but most feared it was an intentional barrier, placed there by an unknown intelligence to isolate Earth and its system. The wall was impenetrable, a shimmering curtain that bent light and warped time, confusing sensors and distorting signals. Ships attempting to pass were met with sudden bursts of energy that disabled engines and scrambled navigation systems. Earth's fleet circled the wall, unable to push through, their power useless against this strange force. Inside Earth's command centers, tension mounted. The President held emergency meetings, knowing that if the wall remained, humanity's isolation would be permanent. Trade, communication, and aid from other star systems would be cut off. Yet Earth refused to panic. Instead, scientists and engineers poured their efforts into understanding the wall's nature. Jalen Armitage, now leading a specialized research team, worked day and night analyzing the energy patterns. He discovered something astounding. The wall was not a simple barrier, but a vast network of interconnected nodes, each pulsing with signals that seemed to respond to human technology. In a risky move, Earth decided to send a small probe equipped with advanced AI and quantum communication devices directly into the wall's edge. The probe transmitted images and data back before vanishing into the unknown. What it revealed shocked. The entire fleet, a massive structure beyond the wall, sprawling across light years, made of crystalline lattices that shimmered with an alien light. It was a fortress, or perhaps a city, but silent and empty, as if waiting. As Earth prepared for the next step, a sudden alert came from deep space sensors. A massive fleet was moving toward the wall from the opposite side. The Othari, or perhaps another unknown force, had gathered behind it. Earth's leaders realized the wall was both a prison and a shield, holding them in and holding others out. The delicate balance of power in the galaxy shifted once more. Earth's response was swift and deliberate. The Aegis fleet, reinforced by ships from rebellious systems now aligned with humanity, began to build a new kind of vessel. One designed not for battle, but for exploration and communication. These ships carried devices aimed at interfacing with the wall, sending pulses and patterns meant to speak rather than fight. Admiral Zara, tasked with commanding this new fleet, felt the weight of history on her shoulders. She knew that beyond the wall lay either salvation or destruction, and Earth's future depended on what they found. As the new fleet approached, the wall, the shimmering light rippled in response. Signals returned, complex, layered, and unmistakably intelligent. The wall was not just a barrier, but a living entity, or the work of a living intelligence. Earth's emissaries sent back messages of peace and curiosity, hoping to open a dialogue. Hours stretched into days, and tension held the galaxy in suspense. Then, from the other side, a response came, not in words, but in images and emotions transmitted directly into the minds of the fleet's crews. They saw visions of ancient stars being born and dying, of civilizations rising and falling, and of a great danger that had once nearly destroyed everything. The wall was built to protect, to quarantine the threat beyond, a force that fed on light and life itself. Earth had sealed its own fate by closing its borders, but it was also chosen to stand guard against the coming darkness. With this revelation, Earth and its allies prepared not just for war, but for a mission to understand and confront the shadow beyond the wall. The galaxy watched and waited, hopeful and fearful, as the wall of stars held its silent vig beyond. The wall of stars. The silence broke, not with warships or weapons, but with a whisper in the dark, a pulse of memory that reached across time and space, awakening something long buried. The wall had opened not fully, but just enough, responding to Earth's messages and the bravery of those who dared to speak rather than shoot. Admiral Zara Mbeki stood on the bridge of the horizon, her eyes locked on the expanding rift now forming. Within the wall, a circular breach of shifting light that revealed the void beyond. What came through was not an army, but a single ship, ancient, enormous, and scarred with the marks of battles fought in another age. It drifted slowly, with no visible power, yet every sensor screamed with impossible readings. Its design was not Othari, nor anything found in the Empire's archives. As it passed through the breach, strange symbols shimmered across its hull, and the lights aboard Earth's fleet flickered, not from damage but from resonance, as if something within. The ship touched their systems without touching them physically. President Aiko Tanaka, watching from Earth's command center, authorized immediate contact. The horizon hailed the vessel, using every known language, every code, every signal, but there was no reply. Then suddenly, from the depths of the unknown, ship, a single human voice crackled through the speakers, old and broken but clear. "We are the first. We are what you forgot." The voice sent chills down every spine. Earth historians had whispered of lost human missions from the early centuries of space travel, expeditions that vanished beyond charts and never returned. Some believed they had died in silence, others that they had been taken by the stars. But none imagined they had survived, until now. The ship identified itself as the Ararat, a generational vessel launched more than 700 years ago, one of Earth's first attempts to reach distant galaxies. On board were descendants of the original crew, humans, but changed, not just genetically but mentally. They had been altered by something they found beyond the galaxy, something they had tried to contain and escape from ever since. Their return was not a rescue, but a warning. Through mind-linked technology far beyond Earth's, they shared fragmented memories, visions of stars devoured by shadows, worlds consumed by a force with no face and no mercy. They called it the Unlight, a being or presence that destroyed not by fire but by removing things from existence itself. Planets simply vanished, civilizations erased not only physically, but from all records, even memory. The Ararat had escaped by sealing part of the galaxy behind them with the help of an ancient alien species now extinct, the same minds that had helped build the Wall of Stars. They had wandered ever since, searching for a way home, carrying with them knowledge of both hope and horror. Now, with the wall weakened and the Othari breaching deeper into known space, the risk of the Unlight returning was real. The Forgotten, as the Ararat crew now called themselves, pleaded with Earth to prepare, not for a war, but for a reckoning. EarthNet's scientists and leaders debated fiercely. Some argued it was a trap, that the ship was a threat. But Admiral Zara felt something deeper, something unshakable. She ordered the Horizon to dock with the Ararat, leading a boarding party herself. Inside, the ship was both alien and familiar. Old Earth tech woven with strange materials that glowed, softly, reacting to human touch. The descendants were pale, quiet, their eyes shimmering with faint light, their minds linked in ways Earth had only begun to understand. They lived without speaking, sharing thoughts instantly among themselves. Welcoming Zara not as a stranger, but as kin, the Admiral walked the silent halls of the Ararat, hearing their memories. Children playing in domed forests, battles in collapsing dimensions, prayers whispered in lost languages. She saw their final journey toward the wall, guided by signals Earth didn't even know it had sent. They had come because they believed Earth was the last hope, the only force still untouched by the unlight. Then came the signal, another pulse through the wall, but not from the Ararat. It was colder, darker, empty of meaning, yet full of intent. The unlight had found the breach. The wall shimmered again, but this time not with invitation, with resistance. Energy surged across its surface as systems hidden for eons activated, and the wall began to close. Earth's fleet had minutes to act. Zara gave the order, send the Ararat through to Earth, seal the breach, and prepare for what might come. But the Forgotten refused. They could not leave. They were part of the key, bound to the ancient mechanisms, keeping the wall strong. If they crossed, the breach would remain open. One of them, a boy no older than 15, stepped forward and spoke for them all, his voice steady. We were forgotten once. Let us be remembered for holding the dark at bay. Zara's eyes met his, and in that moment, she understood. The ship would stay. The crew would remain within the breach, becoming guardians of the threshold between light and nothing. Earth pulled back as the wall flared one final time. The breach sealed slowly, light folding in on itself until only stars remained. The Ararat was gone, but not lost. Earth mourned, but it also remembered. Across the Sol system, new defenses were built, not in fear, but in unity. Messages were sent across the galaxy, not warnings, but calls to prepare together. The Zelthari, now humbled, sent envoys to Earth, asking not for surrender, but for guidance. The Bastion Ring, now fully rebuilt, stood not as a wall, but as a lighthouse. And at its heart, deep within Earth's command archives, Zara kept the last recording from the Ararat, the boy's voice, whispering in the dark. Remember us, and keep the stars burning. The Forgotten had returned, not to be saved, but to save others. And though the wall now stood silent once more, all who watched the skies knew that the true battle lay not in what came through the stars, but in what humanity chose to become before the darkness returned again.